welcome back to The Move. We're going to take a look at the third week, this midweek check-in for the 2023 Vuelta España. We're going to look over the last 3 or 4 stages and really reflect on what Johan and Spencer talked about yesterday, all the drama with Jumbo-Visma, what's going on, what are they doing? And, well, we got some answers today, so we'll dig deep into that. Before we do want to check in with one of our partners, with Manscaped. We've been telling you about our partners at Manscaped for some time, but we never really talk technology, right? It's like, what am I using here? I'm here to tell you that the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology works at reducing nicks and cuts, which makes taking care of everything a lot safer. You want to use the best technology. And another part of their technological masterpiece, it has a 7,000 RPM motor, multifunctional on-off switch that can engage in a travel lock and a built-in 4000K LED spotlight to help you see what you're doing. And their performance package comes with things to cool you down, like the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. Once you start using these products along with your manscaping, you'll get it. You'll start using them as a regular basis. You'll love it. You're actually going to love it. And the Performance Package 4.0, which is one of the options, caps it off with 2 free gifts: the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag, which I use that travel bag for not only my Manscaped equipment, but all my other toiletries now. Bring in the fall right and get 20% off and free shipping with the code THEMOVE at manscaped.com. That's all one word, THEMOVE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code THEMOVE. And as the leaves fall, make sure you have it all with Manscaped. All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm JB, joined by Spencer Martin and Johan Bruneel. And I got to, before we get too into it, I have to say, you guys, yesterday, when you did the Move Plus, like, if people haven't heard or listened to, watched, viewed, whatever, our Move Plus, that's when you guys really isolate a particular topic as opposed to just a general recap. And yesterday, you guys really went after Jumbo-Visma and their tactics in this Vuelta, which I thought was great. One of the best shows you guys have ever done, if not the best. Really good stuff. So let's kind of pick up where that left off. A lot of questions were answered today about, is Roglič going to attack? More importantly, is Jonas Vingegaard going to attack? Or are they going to look out for Sepp Kuss? We got the answer today. So let's start with you, Johan, with when we watched them behave themselves, if you will. What was going through your mind? I felt like maybe they listened to Johan yesterday.
I mean, that was the first thing. That was the first thing I thought. I said, man, Jumbo-Visma has listened to the move. Because basically everything we said yesterday, that we would like to happen or that should happen, happened. Today was obviously a really hard stage. Maybe if you look at the difficulty, taking away, the Tourmalet, of course, as a big climb and the Angliru as a big climb, but as a whole, this stage was really hard, probably the hardest one of the whole Vuelta, and coming so late in the race. So it was clear to me that it was going to be a breakaway. That happened. And then there was basically no battle at all in the GC favorite group. Maybe just Mikel Landa trying to distance Juan Ayuso. But it was really good to see that finally, before today's stage, or maybe after yesterday's stage, Jumbo-Visma has made a decision that they want Sepp Kuss to win this Vuelta. And as you see here on the picture behind me, we have Jonas Vingegaard and Primož Roglič setting the pace for the red jersey. They also did that yesterday, but at some point, Sepp Kuss couldn't follow, and they never looked back. Here, it was completely different. So I think, they did get a lot of criticism on social media. And of course, I listened to the interview of Richard Plugge, the general manager of Jumbo-Visma, before the stage, and he said, it seems like everybody's so interested in what we're going to do. We have a plan. You will see. I personally think, them deciding that Sepp Kuss deserves this win, and he does deserve this win for many, many reasons. In the first place, for how he rode in this Vuelta. I think is the best way they could answer the criticism, and the best way they could show their gratitude to such a valuable player on their team.
Go ahead, Spencer. Do you want to chime in on that?
Just to back us up to how did we get into this mess? How did Jumbo get themselves into this mess? You guys recorded a show on the rest day, and I was thinking this on the rest day too. It's just easy, right? Defensive riding all the way to Madrid. 1, 2, 3, bing, bang, boom. It's over. Well, no, because stage 16 rolls around through I would say, most beautiful part of Spain. Is that accurate, Johan? These stages have been unbelievably beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Cantabria is Cantabria, Asturias. It's super nice. It's beautiful. Little minus point. It rains a lot. That's also
How does it get so green?
When it's really good weather, it's amazing. Yeah, beautiful part.
So Jonas is 144 behind Sepp Kuss going into stage 16. You'd think kind of routine stage, probably should be a breakaway, steep finish, like 5K at 9% about the final climb. Jumbo pulls it back. We didn't totally agree with that just because it introduces variables like what if you crash on the run-in, just maybe go easy instead of going hard. But Jonas attacks. He's supposed to be followed by UAE, who has 3 riders in that group. I think what Jonas is thinking, what Jumbo is thinking is UAE is going to line it out. Jonas is going to win the stage by 15 seconds. Sepp Kuss is protected by UAE, who has to set a hard, steady pace to follow him. It's a great reverse lead out, right? No, that's not what happens. UAE, for some reason, doesn't chase him. They have a rider chasing Jonas stuck in no man's land. Marc Soler sitting at the back. Spalamed is attacking. It's a complete disaster. Jonas gets way too much time, like over a minute on Sepp Kuss. Now he's close. Now he's 29 seconds back. Well, they go into yesterday's stage, which features, I would say, the hardest climb in pro cycling, maybe second, maybe third, if you stretch it, that Le Angliru. And they destroy everybody. Bahrain sets a hard pace. It's just Jumbo left, 3 guys at the front, a little maybe unpressed. Maybe they were even confused about what to do at that point. You'd think like Roglič really wants to win the stage. Maybe just keep the pace steady right away. Outsprint your teammates to win. He goes a little bit too hard, gets a little too, but also Roglič has one speed. It's kind of like Remco. Like there's no turning them off. And that's why they're good. Roglič goes away. Jonas follows him. They drop Sepp Kuss probably because of the acceleration to go up to Roglič. And Jonas gets within 8 seconds of him. So then going into today's stage, you're thinking, are they going to what's the deal here? And it looked bad, and it was bad. And we reamed him on yesterday's show, but it really they didn't mean for this to happen, because stage 16, they should have been pursued. Jonas took way too much time. And then I think they went a long ways towards righting any wrongs they've done, because they decided we have a guy in red. Maybe let's just ride defensively. They kind of look like the Skytrain out there on the final climb, hold back any attacks. Really, that's just textbook. Like, why would you do anything but that when you have such a big gap? There's no need to start attacking Sepp Kuss. But who do you guys think was the strongest rider on that climb? Like, Jonas has won stages throughout this race, and impressive stages. I don't know if he looks as strong as he did at the Tour. And I frankly don't know if he's as strong as Sepp. Like today, I thought Sepp, did you notice like it was him responding to those late attacks from Ayuso and Landa?
Yeah, I think Jonas Vingegaard has changed throughout this Vuelta. I personally think that in the last stages, he was the strongest. He was not at the beginning. And I think it's kind of normal. He was the guy who came in, did the Tour, won the Tour, took some time off, a little bit of time off, prepared for the Vuelta, but didn't go to altitude. Whereas the other leader before the race was Primož Roglič. He made this a goal and, did the whole preparation, the recon, the altitude camps, and came in really good shape. Sepp Kuss I don't see how he can have done any specific preparation for the Vuelta, because, he did the Giro, then he did the Tour. Mainly what he focused on recovering, right? But I do think at the end, let's not forget, as we said yesterday, Spencer, these 2 riders, Primož Roglič and Jonas Vingegaard, are 2 of the 3 best stage races in the world. And, when they are not sick or injured, even if they're a little bit off, they're still going to be up there. There's only really Tadej Pogačar who can challenge them at this point, unless we'll see in the future if other young guys can get to that level. But I think Sepp Kuss got into this position. If I remember correctly, stage 3 in the Pyrenees there in Andorra, Sepp Kuss was leading out Primož and Jonas, and when they sprinted, then he lost some time. I think he lost like close to 20 seconds or something, the stage that Remco Evenepoel won. And so, their initial idea was, okay, let's try to win this Tour of Spain with one of those two guys, or maybe be first and second. And they never expected that Sepp Kuss would be allowed to go in that breakaway, win that stage, and then hang on to that time that he gained. Those things happen in stage races, and if that's, listen, in the end, now, we were really hard on them yesterday. We have to say today, we have to applaud them for the way they reacted, Jumbo-Visma, and how they showed this, appreciation for Sepp Kuss. Everybody's happy. All the people are happy now. The sponsors will be happy. It's win, 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 win on all sides for Jumbo-Visma, I think.
One of the things that came to mind for me, I thought about you, Johan, because when, the postal era, you didn't have all this social media and everybody barking about what should be happening. You didn't have podcasts all over.
Thank God we didn't have them. Because,
you did have like 300 well-funded local papers in the U.S. constantly writing about what you were doing right and wrong, though. There's like so many writers back in the day.
But I don't even know if back then the writers were as critical
true.
As they are today. Now they have to take more of a stand, and more. It used to just be more reporting. Here's what happened. Yeah. So I just can't imagine what it would have been like, and so I guess my question is to you: do you think that all of this public outcry, like we saw over Jumbo yesterday, has an effect on the game?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I think so. I mean, if you look at, well, let's not forget Primož Roglič. I repeated already a few times before the Vuelta started. Said, we have two guys, but hey, don't forget, Sepp Kuss can also win this Vuelta. He said this before the start of the Vuelta. He was right. But until today, we've never really seen. Like, okay, we all like Sepp Kuss in the lead, we want him to win, but they never said we are going to ride for Sepp Kuss, full stop, So I personally think that it has an effect. In the end, they're in the game to win bike races, but it's actually a sad thing to see that you have this team who is, so strong. They've already won the Giro. They won the Tour. Now they're here in Tour of Spain. They're first, second, and third. They won a bunch of stages, and still nobody's happy about them or with them. Mm-hmm. Right? That's actually not right. Right? But now, since everybody is able to give their opinion on any platform, it has to be taken into account, because I cannot imagine, a sponsor as Jumbo or whatever, Cervelo, or, that matters to them, what people think.
One of the things I kept thinking about as I was watching this Vuelta is they're getting their graded and their popularity measured in real time. Like, first of all, there are very few sports that go on for days, right? But you can adjust. Like, Jonas did a big adjustment from the last 2 days to today. It's like you can literally take a look at your popularity rising or falling. Remco too. Remco had a bad day, and then he was seeking redemption. It's like this. I don't know if I'm making sense. This real time working on your public opinion is a pretty wild thing to witness.
We should mention Remco won the stage today, easily. We'll talk about that in a second. But Remco yesterday sucked. Now he's awesome. it is flipping around. I mean, just to go back, examine this question, which I kind of take issue with the premise of, is it okay to gift someone like a Grand Tour, or is Sepp Kuss owed the win? No, obviously, right? Like, you don't gift someone a Grand Tour win. But like, if we want to play that game, I still think stage 13, I think Sepp Kuss was much stronger than Jonas. And I think Jonas attacked, and Sepp Kuss is not going to chase his teammate down because it looks bad. In retrospect, maybe he should have passed him, said, too bad, so sad about your daughter's birthday, Jonas. I'm going to win this, and dropped him, because that's exactly what Jonas did on Sepp's own birthday.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Sepp Kuss was not gifted this Vuelta at all. He wrote for it, you know, he fought for it. And even yesterday, I mean, look how much he fought for it, that, you know, he was dropped. He fought then to stay on the wheel of Landa, and then had to make sure that he passed Landa to get the bonus seconds to be sure to keep the jersey. And I don't think that Sepp Kuss will ever have the feeling that they gifted it to him. It's true what you say, Spencer. The stage on the Tourmalet, Sepp Kuss was stronger.
He was the strongest rider in the race.
Well, I think probably Roglič was the strongest rider there that day. But yeah, I mean, the way Sepp Kuss attacked there, and, you know, the difference in speed was really impressive. And let's not forget, you know, this is also the first time, everything's new for Sepp Kuss. He's never been in this situation to deal with this, and especially to deal with this constant pressure day after day, from the morning till the evening. And yes, it's not Tour, it's the Vuelta. Thanks for that for Sepp Kuss, because the you know, everything in the Tour de France is magnified by 10 compared to the Vuelta. But yeah, it's a new experience, and you could see at some stages that Sepp was, you know, had to really fight for it. You know, he was suffering a bit, but he fought for every single square centimeter of that red jersey. You know, he deserves that, you know, fair and square, in my opinion.
And let's add to that. I know we've said it before, and most people know this, but the reminder that this was his third Grand Tour. Like, the fatigue,
that's crazy.
How his summer has been is just unreal. Let's talk a little bit about, before we move on to Remco, the hit. Like, okay, I know they still have got to get through 2 more stages safely, but the historical value. We were already hyping how big it is, and it's never been done, that one team wins all 3 Grand Tours. That's going to happen, but then 3 different riders. And then you top it off 1, 2, 3 on the podium. Like, just this is something they'll talk about 50 years from now.
It's mind blowing. It is mind blowing. You know,
the 1, 2, 3 answer to a trivia question for a long time,
right?
The 1, 2, 3 has happened before. You know, as we said already. And you know, and it. You know, I thought it happened only once. In 1966. There was one team who did 1, 2, 3, and then they also had 5, 6, and 7. So six riders in the top 7 of the Vuelta. It has also happened twice in one time in the Giro, but that was like in the 1920s, and one time in the Tour also. So it has been done before, but never has one team won all 3 Grand Tours in one season. And I mean, I don't know, but we would have to do some research. I don't think that ever a rider has won a Grand Tour, which is his 3rd Grand Tour in the same season. I think that's also very unique. I cannot
imagine that's ever happened. I mean, yeah, that it's somewhat so the fact that they are going to win, I think it's easy to say they're going to win all 3 Grand Tours. Maybe even if Sepp Kuss crashes or something, one of them will win. But that just makes it, I think people don't like the idea like, oh, the strongest rider should win. Well, I do think over 3 weeks, Sepp Kuss probably has been stronger than the guy in second place, but they do need, like Richard Pluga, the team manager, needs to take into account, you're in uncharted waters and you're in potentially dangerous waters when you're this dominant. Like, you can't just come in, like if Jonas came in and won all 3 Grand Tours every year for the next 5 years, they would hate, everyone would hate Jumbo. So you do want to bring in
Spencer, it's already the case.
But the fact that Kuss is going to win this, I think helps them quite a bit. The fact that they have a likable domestique winner. It does.
I mean, if the best guy for their brownie points, I would say, is that Sepp Kuss wins instead of Jonas and instead of Roglič. I agree. He's the underdog. He's the nice guy. He's the helper. I'm not saying that Jonas and Primož are not nice guys, right? But it's like Geraint Thomas said it perfectly. He says, I'm pretty sure that the big majority of this Vuelta peloton and of the entire pro peloton wants Sepp Kuss to win this Vuelta. That's how popular he is.
And yeah, it means Jumbo wins because they win all three Grand Tours, three different riders. Sepp wins because he wins the race. Primož loses here. I think it's hard to find a positive for Primož, but I think Jonas, this is good for him. This is like the best thing that could happen to him because he's strong. He finishes second, but now he is a little bit more sympathetic heading into the Tour next year. And he's not seen as this like boring machine that will come along and just win every race that he enters. I think that's going to be helpful for him next year.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what has been said, between yesterday and today in the Jumbo at the table or in the bus or whatever, because yesterday Jonas, they had this plan that Primož would win the stage. Jonas was in second. He looked behind, didn't wait for Sepp Kuss. We still don't know what Sepp Kuss has said, if he said go guys or oh guys. But today there was a clear change. Just not just Jonas made it very, very clear that he was the guy who wanted Sepp Kuss to win. He did the tempo, not Primož. Primož is sitting in third. Jonas is sitting second. Sepp Kuss in first. Logically, it would be the third guy on GC who sets the tempo, then Jonas at the wheel, and then Sepp Kuss. Jonas made it a point to pull, and then at the end, when Sepp Kuss followed the attack of was it Enric Mas and Ayuso? Yeah, Jonas made sure that there was a little bit of time in between. If this is a Jonas Vingegaard who goes for the leader's jersey, he's not losing one single second. So I think that was also a clear sign that Vingegaard himself absolutely wants to take every doubt away. And it's not 8 seconds now, it's 17 seconds, just to make sure that if there's some nervousness in the next stages, let's say there's a gap tomorrow in the stage. Let's say Sepp Kuss gets blocked behind something and there's a gap. Before there's 10 seconds with the first group. So that actually was taken care of today also with Jonas Vingegaard's action to, not really insist. He doesn't have to worry about second place. That was for sure. And he makes sure that Sepp can be, relaxed. And especially the fans who have been critical of Jonas and Jumbo, they can be more relaxed too. I think that was really nice and very professional. So yesterday we were, criticizing Jonas and the team. Today we have to say chapeau, applaud, really job well done.
To try to step inside the mind of Jonas and maybe paint him in a little bit more sympathetic light than we did yesterday. Is Roglič a bit of is he not, I don't want to say problem because he's a very good rider, but is he a bit of a disruptor at this race because he goes yesterday, probably when he doesn't need to? Sepp drops, and does Jonas follow him there because he's thinking, oh, Sepp might lose this race and I don't want Primož to ride away with it? That's not the deal. I told Sepp I want him to win the race.
I think you're reading too much into you're reading too much forums or something like that.
Do you think they like each other? Do you think Jonas is thinking, I don't want this guy at the Tour next
I think
year?
so. I think I'm not going to say it, but they're professional colleagues and they work together. I honestly don't think that Primož is a problem. He's a winner, and rarely is he in a position that he has to do this. But let's not forget last year's Tour de France, Primož Roglič was hurt really bad. He was normally he would not have been starting the stage. The job he did to crack Pogačar in the stage of the Galibier and what was it called? The
Granon?
Called the Granon. That's Primož Roglič basically burying himself there for the benefit of Jonas Vingegaard.
Well, these facts are inconvenient, Johan, to my theory.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think Primož can be and has been a great teammate when he's been asked to.
I think part of that might be, this is my theory, is the age difference. Primož has been around. He's older. Even though he's in peak form, he's on the tail end. The story is told. Jonas is 26. He wants it all.
Yeah.
He wants it all right now. That's it. Remco wants it all. Pogačar wants it all. It's an age difference thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Primož can hear the tick tick of time, I'm sure. I mean, how long does he have left to win?
I personally think that we're, like this whole thing about Jonas, listen, he's not a guy who he's not very expressive. His interviews are always really calculated. So from what I hear within the team, he's an amazing guy, like an amazing guy. It's not always what they project to the outside, right? This is a guy who doesn't like the spotlights and focuses on, trying to win races, but no.
Yeah, we did get that email that, if you guys will remember it, but some of our listeners may not have caught it. Somebody who really knew the area of Denmark where he's from said that they are very humble. You don't brag about yourself. You don't act cocky. You're gracious and humble.
Yeah.
And that was many shows ago, but that explains a lot too about his behavior.
Yeah. I think so. Listen, end good, all good. I mean, we're not in Madrid yet, but at least, I think the decisive stages are done. The stage 20 is still very hard, but I personally don't think it's going to be a factor amongst the top 5 riders. Probably going to be a breakaway again, but I think they kept us in a suspense until the last moment, but at the end, we have to say and give it to them, they did the right thing.
What do you think caused, do you think Jonas was just thinking, we should do this? Or do you think orders came down from top? Did Richard Pluga show up to the team bus this morning and say, this is what you're going to do?
It's a difficult, from what I hear, they always, they make a plan and then they discuss the plan with, the major players as you should. And, I personally think they came to a consensus, that this is the way it should be. I don't know if Sepp actually also had his, hey guys, I really want to win this race. Look what I've done for you. Listen, he's entitled to, he's entitled to say that because, yesterday, in La Movida, we had a special guest. We had Chechu Rubiera on the show. And, because he lives in the area there, and Victor Hugo Peña went to visit him at his house, and it was actually really ideal moment because I called Sepp, I called Chechu. Chechu was known to be the most loyal helper. There was always there in the final of the races with Lance in the mountains. I called him the Sepp Kuss of the 2000 area. I asked him the question, and Chechu is an amazing guy. Never complains, never says anything negative about nobody, And I asked Chechu the question. I said, Chechu, put yourself in the situation of Sepp Kuss. You've been doing all this work, not just this year, years and years, and you're in this position, and you're in the lead jersey of the Tour of Spain, and you can win, and then you have this situation as yesterday. And he said, I would feel betrayed. That came from him, and that for me was very telling because, and I personally, of course, they're not going to. Sepp Kuss was not going to express this publicly, but deep down, I'm pretty sure that he had those thoughts and said, "Hey," and probably also voiced his opinion and said, "Hey, guys, I want to win this race. It's up to you now to deliver it to me. I've delivered so much to you already."
And they need they need Sepp Kuss to be as loyal as he ever has been, if not more now.
Yeah.
Like going into next year's tour.
There's
that's amazing.
There's one interesting thing that I want to bring up about this whole, and I'm finally, 99% sure Sepp Kuss is going to win the Vuelta, no? But there were certain people have asked me, could there be any other reason that, the team management doesn't make that decision? And certain people ask me about bonuses.
Yeah.
Money, right? So if you put yourself in the skin of the team manager and look at this from a business point of view, because at the end of the day, this guy needs to run a business. He has a budget, and he needs to make sure that everybody's paid and that he has sponsors. And I was thinking, could it be, because if you look, Roglič and Vingegaard, they're on high salaries, and they are paid to win these kind of races. So either if Primož or Jonas would have won the Vuelta, I'm pretty sure there's no bonus in their contract for winning the Vuelta because they're paid and expected to win these races. If Sepp Kuss has signed a contract and he has a good agent, and this agent has been planning ahead, it is very possible that there's a huge bonus for a rider like Sepp Kuss if he wins a Grand Tour. I think if we're speaking like Vuelta España, we're probably speaking, between 600,000 and 1 million bonus. Then, I'm putting my team manager's cap on and I say, hey, I need to make sure that I find this 1 million euros here. If this guy wins the Vuelta, and if the others win, it costs me nothing.
Yeah.
So,
I thought you were setting that up to go the opposite way. Like that Roglič and Vingegaard have bonuses for that, and Sepp does.
No.
Let Sepp win, and I'll save money. It's the opposite.
No, he wouldn't save money. It would cost him money. So
it's a funny, and I do not think that's what's happening here. But you could imagine a less well-run team, one of those two guys getting a phone call off the record saying, "Hey, I need you to win this race because I don't have 1 million."
It has happened in the past, for sure.
I'm not shocked because that is but not to get too far into the weeds here, but do we know, does Jumbo have a sponsor? What is going on with that?
Well, they're fine for next year.
They're fine for next year. Okay.
The only thing is that Jumbo has said that if they would find a replacement, Jumbo as a company would be willing to step back. They have already said that they're not renewing for 2025.
Okay.
Maybe a Sepp Kuss bonus, it's like a lottery winning. It'll get paid out over 30 years. All right, we got to spend some time on Remco. We can't ignore that. Everyone, another guy under the microscope this entire Vuelta. Your thoughts after seeing him today? He's got the polka dot jersey. He gets another stage win. He seems happy. What do you think?
I predicted it on outcomes yesterday. He was my choice for the stage win from a breakaway. So I'm happy that turned out good. I mean, he did now win 3 stages. Listen, the performances, if you look at what he did on stage, what was it, stage 14? Probably at stage 14, the day after he broke down, he did this strong ride, won the stage, dropped Romain Bardet, super good rider. Today he did the same thing, dropped Damiano Caruso and Max Poole. So he wins 3 stages, wins the Mountains jersey. He himself in the interview afterwards said, of course, my GC ambitions couldn't come true, but I look back on the great Vuelta. I mean, listen, it's amazing to win 3 stages and win the polka dot jersey. But it's Remco Evenepoel, and he came here to win. So, well, if you see you don't win, obviously you have to change your goals. And hats off to him that he could, motivate himself or remotivate him and go for stage wins. But deep down, this is not what he came for. This is not a great success. And once again, I have to say the same thing as what we're saying about Jumbo-Visma. We said Jumbo-Visma first, second, third, 5 stage wins, and yet we were critical. It's a bit the same for Remco. And let's not forget the guy, I'm going to say the kid. It's, he's still young kid. 23 years old today, he obtains his 50th victory. 50 in professionals. That's just like, mind-blowing. But still, there is a little, obviously it's great, but he came for more.
What would you comment on that? And then I'd love to know how you would have Remco adjust things for next season. Go ahead, Spencer. Though.
I was going to say, well, everyone came for more except for Sepp Kuss. So it's a bit of a high bar you're holding him to. He'll probably win, 4 stages here? I would pencil him in for stage 20 at this point. He already has 3 stage wins, unless I'm miscounting. But the way he wins these stages is unbelievable. Just to sit on a front like a motorcycle and then just pop everyone up as willing to win. If he wants to, I'm actually wondering, Johan, I understand that he failed in the GC, and it does make me have questions about him as a GC like super contender, if we want to put the top guys in a special tier. But should he just hunt stages? Like, could this be his career? He just wins 4 stages every Grand Tour and then wins 2 monuments every year. That's a pretty good career, right?
Yeah, but that's not in his mind. That's
Wout van Aert's plan.
I just wonder if that is getting devalued too much. Remember Valverde. Valverde won at Vuelta, just like Remco, but his career really was just racking up wins across all types of terrain, all types of races. I kind of wonder if we've just gotten drunk on this idea of, you've got to win classics, you got to win monuments, you got to win Grand Tours. Is that really scalable for anyone that's not Tadej Pogačar?
Listen, he's a great talent. There's no doubt about that. I personally think, he's still, I definitely don't write him off. Listen, he won the Vuelta. I think he was, in a good position to win the Giro, probably without having this COVID incident. Although Primož was really strong and Geraint Thomas was really strong, but he's up there with those guys, in my opinion. And I don't want, because I'm getting criticized a lot to be a huge Remco fan, and I am, but I'm also critical of him when I have to be. For example, I did not think that yesterday was a good idea to go in the breakaway. I thought he should have focused yesterday on staying with the favorites and try to win on the Angliru to make a statement. That's my opinion. It's not his opinion, and very respectfully, it's very to be respected. But I think it's still too early to say. He already won Grand Tour at 23. Who else can say that?
Like Tadej, right? Doesn't he have 2 Tour de France victories at 23?
That's it. Jonas didn't win.
How old was Jan Ullrich when he won the Tour? He must have been 23, right?
Yeah, he was 22.
22. I just wonder if, and this might be nonsense babble, but he's obviously amazing at riding his own pace. Unbelievable. Can he ride at other people's pace for 21 days? That would be the question I have about him. Because stage 13 clearly was just, this is not the right pace for me. I have to go slower. And he went slower. And you can never do that if you're a top tier GC rider.
Well, I think there's a lot to be looked at. I think he learned more in this Vuelta from this, good start than having the bad day and then changing his goals. I think he probably learned more than maybe winning the Vuelta another time and being dominant. They need to go back to the drawing board, in my opinion, adjust a few things. I think there's stuff to be done in terms of season planning. Let's not forget this Vuelta initially before the season was not on his plan. He was focusing on the Giro and then the World Championships. So the Vuelta came kind of in a second phase of the season, and they had to adjust the whole planning towards it. But I think there's a lot of room for improvement still. He needs to learn a lot, and I think it's kind of scary if you see how fast he can go certain times for the competition. If he can still, improve, it's Anyway, that's just my opinion.
So Go
ahead, JB.
When I was thinking about Remco, one bad day cost you. That's kind of a storyline that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. My question for you guys is, do you think we will see more of those one-day cracks just by the way they're designing these Grand Tour courses? They're finding steeper climbs intentionally. They're finding alternate routes up that have a steeper pitch. In general, and they're throwing a mountain stage in stage 3. We're seeing these tougher tours in general. So maybe the one bad day is going to be more of a common occurrence, which is actually good for the fans.
Yeah, you may have a point there, JB. I mean, I didn't think about that, but the way certain Grand Tours are designed now makes it that, you have to be really on good form from the very beginning. Traditionally it was, okay, there's the first week, it's kind of leading up, and then you go in the mountains and you have kind of 2 mountain groups, Alps, Pyrenees, or where here in either in the Pyrenees and then in Asturias in the Vuelta. In the Giro, it's the Dolomites, and but yeah, I mean, I think it can happen because you have to be on top of your form from the start, and there is not one single stage nowadays where they take it easy in the beginning. Every single stage is full gas from the start. It's incredible. Stages are shorter, yes. There's no more stages of 250, 260, 270 sometimes. That's not, but who wants to watch that? Who wants to see that? It's better to see shorter stages where it's full gas the whole time. And it is really intense the whole time. So you could, yeah. I think it's possible that you see those, but more in younger riders though. Mm-hmm. I can see that the more experienced riders that have that under their belt and they have that, under control.
It's a good question, JB. I was actually thinking about this because we see a lot of early mountain stages, usually like a mild summit finish in the first week of Grand Tours. And I was thinking, what riders have won those Met stages and then gone on to win the race? Because if you go back to the 2020 Tour, Primož storms to victory on the first uphill finish, does not win that race, obviously, famously. And then look at this one. Remco Evenepoel looks amazing on the stage 3 uphill finish, obviously doesn't go on to win. Jonas is second. Juan Ayuso is third. Well, Juan Ayuso is falling fast. Jonas is pretty good, but Jonas, you would say, is an unusually good rider across 3 weeks. But you look at like Marc Soler in 5th, Enric Mas in 6th, Lenny Martinez in 7th. Those guys are all hanging on by a thread right now. And then you go down. Sepp Kuss finished 14th, 13 seconds back. He's going to win this race. And Mikel Landa finishes 29th, a minute and a half back. That guy's probably the strongest GC, non-Jumbo GC rider in this 3rd week. So it does show you that it is hard to find that balance between where do you hit your peak form in these Grand Tours.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other takeaways before, or maybe you guys I know you go deep on outcomes, but do you want to give us a little what to expect tomorrow? Of course, we know what to expect going into Madrid, but
bunch sprint tomorrow.
A bunch sprint.
Why are 2 out of the last 4 days bunch sprints? Did they think this through?
I mean, first of all, we're not sure it's going to be a bunch sprint, right?
True. Yeah.
The guys are tired. The teams are not complete anymore. But still, I think it's going to be a bunch sprint tomorrow because, let's say, because, in theory, Remco is still in the running for the green jersey. If he would win stage 20 and Caden Groves doesn't score any points tomorrow, and then something happens on the last stage, he gets blocked in or something, and it's not top 10, I think in theory, he's still not sure of the green jersey. So I think that's why tomorrow Alpecin is going to make sure it's a bunch sprint. Or Caden Groves goes in the break. He's done that also already before.
The guy is moving right now. I mean, that didn't work on stage 16, but he was in both of those breakaways that formed, and he was pushing the pace in them. That would be fun to see him in the break. Actually, no, now I'm more intrigued because Remco is closing in on this green jersey. I do think bunch sprint tomorrow. Stage 20, pretty interesting. I like this tradition. It's similar to the Alsace stage at the stage 20 of the Tour this year. The climbs are easier than those, but it's 10 categorized climbs on stage 20. This idea that they're going to throw a stage 20 in, just like here's 10 climbs. Let's see what happens. Is kind of a fun thing that's happening in Grand Tour.
Well, Spencer, that stage it's breakaway day, and then the rest of the peloton is going to be at the mercy of Jumbo-Visma. There's still 8 guys. There's still going to be 8 guys then. The pace that Jumbo-Visma sets on that kind of stage is way too hard for the biggest part of the peloton right now. So that everybody's going to be saying, okay, Jumbo, please have mercy. So I don't expect anything.
But do we remember what happened stage 20 of the Tour this year? A certain Jumbo-Visma rider crashed out on the descent, one of these tricky descents.
Do not freaking jinx it, man.
I'm just trying to say stuff can still happen.
Hey, on another note, have you guys heard any updates on Nathan Hoydunk?
Yes. The last thing I've heard is that, it's not sure whether, first reports were that he had a heart attack or something. Then I've also seen reports that it was like an epileptic attack. Anyway, he had some kind of seizure, which provoked his all of a sudden acceleration with the car. But after being in observation in the hospital, he actually is fine. He has no injuries. It was the scare and the basically being unconscious and having provoked the accident. But I've heard that he's definitely going to be all right. I don't know if he's left the hospital already, but he's going to be all right, and going to be no further consequences.
Yeah, I was thinking, can you race with epilepsy?
Yes,
because you can.
Yes.
So you think he'll be? It was kind of the messaging was a little, as you said, all over the place. But if he's not too badly injured, I guess he could be back racing by next season in theory.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that.
And are you going to the finals?
Riders who were, like top of the world, Grand Tour winners who had epilepsy and was perfectly under control.
Are you going to the final stage in Madrid? Going to be a sprint stage, I would assume, and it's a beautiful city, so it's a fun stage to watch. Are you going to be there?
No. I know the area. It's everything's closed off. It's difficult to get there. I have to be back to do outcomes, and I know the move and La Movida straight after the race. So
rumor has it you've seen a few bike races.
Yeah, I
been there, done
that. Anything else? Parting thoughts before I do our Ventum Trivia for someone to have the opportunity to win a brand new GS1 gravel bike. If you don't have anything else, I'll move on to that.
I think we've covered everything.
Okay.
JP. I guess what you should maybe talk about on the Sunday show is, I didn't want to talk about, I don't want to jinx it, but like, what does this mean for American cycling? Sepp Kuss kind of you would not have picked him to be the American to win the first Grand Tour in a decade since Chris Horner at the Vuelta in 2023. Let's mention it. Chris doesn't get a lot of credit for that on Peacock.
2013.
And then this is 2033. 2023. And then Johan's son will win 2033. But we maybe talk about what does that mean? Is this going to even meaningfully bump interest in the US, or what does this mean for Sepp Kuss's career? Is he now a GC rider? What's going on with that? So after he actually wraps it up, that'd be interesting to hear you guys talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk about that.
That's a great question. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and I'm like, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah, I don't want to start talking about it.
Don't jinx it. All right, here we are partnered with Ventum Bikes, and we're going to give away a brand new GS1, their new gravel bike. And all you have to do is send in your trivia question answers, and you'll be in the drawing. So just to give you the answer from the last show, the question was, in 2018, Lance raced the Odyssey Orcas Island swim run event. What was the name of his teammate? The answer was the 2000 Olympic gold medal in triathlon, Simon Whitfield. All right. Now you can participate by sending in an answer today. It doesn't cost you anything. I'll give you the email and address in a second. Today's question is, what is the name of George's hotel and where is it located? Of course, we're talking about George Hincapie. What is the name of his hotel? And it's cycling related. And where, and just so people know, not where does George live, where is the hotel? It's located exactly. It's just outside of where he lives. I'm trying to help you out here. Send your answer in to trivia@ventumracing.com. Good luck. Okay. That's it, guys. I know you got more to do, more outcomes, La Movida. And now you're doing La Movida Plus too on occasion. I think that's great. But you guys, if you haven't been catching the extra shows, it's in the same feed. So I hope you're not missing it. But these guys are really, really drilling down on specific topics with Move Plus. Very good stuff. But Johan, Spencer, thank you for all your input today. Appreciate you. Thank you for everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, JB.